Every year, shortly after Christmas, we celebrate the Feast of the Holy Family, and we reflect on the blessings of family life and the crucial role that families have in human society and in God's plan for salvation. This year, we had the reading from Matthew's Gospel, which is about the Holy Family being in grave danger because King Herod wanted to kill the child Jesus. Why did Herod seek to kill Jesus? He was afraid. Herod was afraid that the child would threaten his throne. He was afraid the child would threaten his opulent lifestyle and the power that he had accumulated and built over many years, which he intended to pass on to his heirs. He was afraid that if Jesus is accepted as king of Israel, his dynasty would end. Who could possibly be afraid of a baby? Apparently, most of the world. In the nation of South Korea right now, the fertility rate is 0.8 children per woman. So just so that you understand, for a population to maintain, the fertility rate has to be 2.1 children per woman. So South Korea is below half the level they would need to maintain their population. This is going to have devastating society-wide consequences in the decades to come. And South Korea is not alone. In fact, I think every country in Europe and North America has below replacement level fertility. People are not having children. And even other parts of the developing world, we see the same trend developing. Who could be afraid of a baby? In this country, each year, 1 million women are so afraid of having a baby, they choose instead to kill the baby in their womb. I want to talk to you today about what I believe to be the single biggest cause of the deterioration of family life in the last 65 years. And there are many factors, but I think everyone agrees that family life isn't what it was once. And you can look at all the research in terms of divorce and marriage rates and all those things. And the single biggest factor is the widespread acceptance and use of contraception. It's not easy for me to preach about. I know the statistics. I know the vast majority of Catholics either have used or are using contraception. I know they're uncomfortable about the issue. Many of them have justified in their own minds why it's correct for them to do so. But I'm asking you to be humble enough to listen for a few minutes on what the church teaches. The first thing the church teaches, which is a very strong theme in the Bible, is that children are a blessing from God. They are a great gift from God, never a punishment. Several years ago, there was an advertisement running on French television. It showed a father and his 6-year-old son in a supermarket. They were shopping. The boy grabbed some candy and put it in the shopping cart. The father took it from the shopping cart and put it back on the shelf, and the boy began to have a world-class tantrum. So he's kicking and screaming, he's throwing stuff off the shelves, and the camera focuses in on this frustrated father, and then the words appear on the screen, "Use condoms." I mean, it's kind of funny, but also it's very sad, right? That attitude towards having children. Yes, children can be very difficult. I grew up in a big family. Although I'm not raising children, I'm very aware of many of you and the struggles you have, especially mothers when they have several children, that are very young. The lack of sleep, the discipline issues. I know it's not easy. But the thing is this, that God intends that as his plan for sanctifying the parents, for helping to make them holier, for giving them the opportunity to grow in the same sacrificial love that is God's very self. When you understand this, you realize the burdens of children are blessings. Now, does that mean that every family should have 19 children? there was a show some years back about a family, the Dugars, a reality show. They actually managed quite well. It was pretty impressive. And the Dugars were Christians. They believed that, the husband and wife get together and as many children as God sends, then that's what you accept. And that actually is not the Catholic Church's teaching on this. The Catholic Church teaches that parents are responsible for discerning the size of their family, and that this is a decision that should be made prayerfully, generously, and deliberately. The Church teaches that for serious reasons, couples may space and limit the conception of children. And so the question is, how should they do this? What means may couples use to space and limit the number of children? The Church teaches that contraception is morally wrong because it sterilizes an otherwise fertile act. The first commandment that God gave to human beings was to Adam and Eve in the garden. He said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it." God created the marital act for two primary purposes: for bonding and for babies. And these are two aspects of one reality: a love that is self-giving and fruitful. By acting against the fruitful part of marital intimacy, one also undermines the self-giving part of it. There is a kind of objective meaning, language in the marital act that is undermined by contraception. Spouses are saying to each other, "I love you, but first, let us put a barrier between us. I love you, but first take a strong hormone to trick your body into thinking it's perpetually pregnant." In a Time magazine article commemorating the 50th anniversary of the contraceptive pill, Nancy Gibbs wrote that the pill was, quote, "the first medicine ever designed to be taken regularly by people who were not sick," end quote. It's not a medicine. The very nature of medicine, right, is to treat an illness. There's some disorder, there's something that's not working according to design, and the purpose of the medical profession, medical intervention, is to restore healthy functioning. And the pill does just the opposite of that. It disables a healthy reproductive system. There is a moral way to space children, which is known as natural family planning. This is not your grandmother's rhythm method. This is scientifically based, a method of observing the signs of a woman's fertility and then choosing to abstain during the fertile periods, in most cases about 10 days per month. Natural family planning has been studied. It's very effective if used properly. It's used actually also to help couples achieve pregnancies. So, natural family planning is free. There's no negative side effects like there are with the pill, and very few people use it. Why is that? Well, because it does require some discipline. That period of time each month of abstaining. Now, when Catholics hear this, many of them have a cynical response. Well, isn't it the same thing as contraception? No, they are not the same thing. In natural family planning, the direct cause of non-conception is abstaining. And abstaining is not an act against fertility. It's important to understand that two actions can achieve the same result but have very different moral qualities. So, for example, let's say I want to lose weight. Option one, I'm going to limit the calories that I eat. I'm going to eat better foods. I'm going to exercise every day. Okay? That will achieve the goal. Option two, I eat whatever I want, whenever I want, and then I make myself vomit. They achieve the same thing. Are they the same morally? No. Right? The first one is respecting the body and building the virtue of temperance. The second violates the body and nourishes a hedonistic character. Consequences can help us discern the morality of an act. Jesus said, "You will know the tree by its fruit." What has been the fruit in our society of the widespread acceptance and use of contraception? promiscuity, the destruction of marriage and family life, among many things. And the thing is that there are some people who don't contracept, and research shows that they are doing quite well. They have a divorce rate of about 2%. Now, I understand that part of that has to do with correlation, right? The people who do that also have other things that would support their relationship. But I also think there's a causative impact. I've met people who have converted on the issue and have shared with me the improvements that they've experienced in their marriage and family life. For those of you who came to Mass today disagreeing with the Church's teaching on this issue, I do hope you reconsider. If you're interested in learning more, there's someone named Janet Smith. She used to teach in seminary. She's written and spoken a lot about this issue, and much of her content is available on the internet for free. If you're married and still of childbearing years, you can take a course on natural family planning from the diocese. Whether or not you're of childbearing years, if you have contracepted in the past or you've gotten yourself sterilized, you should mention that in confession if you haven't done so already. The power to co-create immortal beings with God is astonishing. I don't think people appreciate it enough. I meet with couples who are preparing for marriage, and one of the parts of the process are discussing certain topics, and so one of the things they have to do is they have to have discussed with each other, have they talked about their family size, what their thoughts are around family size. So I ask them then usually, I want one, she wants two, we'll figure that out. And then here I am trying to bargain them up. So I'll ask them why. And so it's not that any of them have a legitimate fear of, if they have 3 or 4 children, that they're going to go hungry or homeless. That's not the case. Usually it's, we want to have enough resources to send them all to elite schools, or it's just the time, and there's things we want to do and travel and all those other things, right? And those are not really serious reasons to not welcome more children from God, huh? There is, at some level, they're living out of fear and not in faith when they think that way. So I'm trying to help them to live in faith, and definitely, we have a wonderful example here in many of the families in our parish that have welcomed many children, and for other people to see it can be done, and you can be happy living that way. If we respect God's plan with regards to this awesome gift, our families will be blessed for it. Yeah, it's going to make us different from everybody else, but guess what? The word holy means set apart. Joyfully accepting the children that God wants to give, that is a crucial part of being a holy family.